Hi, this is a quick start for MS Spline Trim modifier. I'm gonna show you all the parameters and also talk about troubleshooting that you might experience. The modifier works directly with splines. To render the result, add a renderable spline or swap modifier, but you can also use the shape map. I have this simple shape made of a couple of splines. Now let's add the modifier and also make it visible by adding the renderable spline modifier. Okay, and let's start with the basic parameters. So with start and end you can draw in and erase the shape, and also with offset you can add some additional movement. Let's make a simple example. Okay, so we have entering and erasing the animation. We can also add some offset. And we also have this couple of additional options. We can invert the result. And sometimes if you want an opposite result, you don't have to swap your keyframes, but you can use these options, swap start and end, or reverse the offset. Now let's move to the randomize rollout. Here we can randomize parameters for each spline. For example, we can randomize the start as well as the end. Let me again animate the offset. And now when the offset is animated, we can randomize the offset itself. Also we can randomize the speed or the offset direction. And we can also combine all of these parameters to have a very randomized motion. Now let's move to input rollout. Here we can select which splines we want to work. We can choose all splines by default. We can select by order or by material ID. So if you before assigned any material ID to selected splines, for example, let's assign number 2 to these splines. Now we can select those splines with material ID number 2. The output rollout is quite important, but for now I will skip it and I will back to it just in a couple of seconds in the troubleshooting section. Now let's move to the statistics rollout, which is just a helper rollout. We can trace the basic parameters of the spline before and after. And for example, if we have shape like this or just one single spline, we can use it for tracing a distance or measuring a distance. So we can. Okay, now let's back to the output rollout, and this one is important because when dealing with splines and geometry, especially with the complex shapes or text, sometimes we can experience different glitches. So I have this example right here, and you can notice that in some point I'm getting this weird geometric glitch. The reason for these glitches, there are two main reasons. So the first one is when the knots of the spline are too close to each other, and the second is when the segments deforms. And in the output rollout we have two options to prevent those glitches, and In this case, I will use the weld nodes, so it will weld the nodes that are too close to each other. And in this case, we have fixed it, so everything's work fine. And for this option, use the lower values, because when you will use higher values, you will encounter this strobo effect because of snapping. Okay, and so let's back to this value. Okay, so basically we have get rid of one problem, but we are dealing with the text where splines are sometimes a bit different. And let me now move to the letter U, and I have noticed that this animation is not smooth enough. We can see that in this place it looks like it's stopping. It's not smooth. So the reason for this is because we have, when we look at the spline of the text, we can see that these splines can be not really regular or can be a bit distorted. So the easy way to fix it is to use a normalized spline modifier, and the normalized spline will make the knots more regular. We can use insert option, and we can use, for example, set 2 or 1, but I will use the 1 for now. And now let's back to the trim, and we can see that the tempo of the animation is fixed, but we encountering another problem. These segments are deforming in a weird way, and this is again because of the splines and the knots type. So let's go to the normalized spline and let's select those splines, and we can see that some of the splines are bezier corner, but some of them are corner or they don't even have any type, because they are procedural. And this is the reason for this glitches. And the one way to fix it, you could select all the knots and just convert it to bezier corner, and it will fix. But we don't have to do this, because in the Spline Trim modifier we already have this option. This is the force bezier corner options. So to prevent those deforming segments, we can choose this option, and now we can see that everything looks very good. The animation is smooth and we don't have any deformed segments anymore. For better precision, we can normalize spline a bit more. Let's move it to 2. Okay, and we can back to all splines, and we can see that the animation is very smooth and we have no glitches.